All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ricky Taug. I'm a professor at the University of Florida, and it is my privilege to welcome you to the very first Society of Agriculture Communication Scholars webinar for the 2023-2024 academic year. We have a panel discussion this afternoon, I'll turn it over to them in just a second. For those of you who are new, and some of you who may not be quite so new to the SACS group here, we have webinars every fourth Monday of the month, and sometimes as a panel, sometimes as a presentation. After the presentation, there's typically some time at the end for announcements or any things that you would like to share, questions you might have for the overall group here. Because we have so many people on the call today, which looks wonderful, lots of people here, we're probably going to do introductions at the end after the presentation, so that please make sure that you stay on for that, because we have a lot of new people in the agricultural communications area as well. So I usually let the presenters decide whether they would like to have questions during the presentation or at the end. So I'll let Courtney and her panelists make that call in just a second. But please do stay through for the next 45 minutes to an hour, because a lot of good comments, conversation, and colleagues as we move forward. So today's webinar presentation, the title of it is Generative AI's Potential Impact on Agricultural Communications Research and Pedagogy, and Courtney Myers at Texas Tech is going to head this one up, and I'll let her introduce the content as well as her panelists as well. Courtney?
Great. Thank you all for being here. I can tell by the show of force that this might be a topic that is intriguing and interesting to a lot of you. I want to start with a caveat that I am by no means an expert in this. I feel like I'm stumbling my way through this technology and what it means for us as educators and scholars. So I hope that no matter where you are in that spectrum, from novice to expert, today you can leave with a little bit of a new nugget of information or a new way you can apply this. So let me just start with a bit before I introduce my panel. I just want to talk about what are the goals. We can't do it all today, and we shouldn't be expected to. So today, what I hope to leave you with is a better definition of what generative AI is. As you'll see in a moment, AI is a lot of things, and today we're really focusing on this tool. We're going to recognize some specific tools that you might be able to use in your everyday life as a teacher, as a researcher, as a person providing service. We want to identify other platforms you may have found useful and provide some tips and advice for the rest of us. There's a lot out there to navigate through. And then maybe we'll have some discussion, keeping the time limit in mind, on what are some advantages or disadvantages you're noticing from these tools. So Ricky mentioned, how are we going to handle this? Well, I do have 3 panelists who I have posed 3 questions to, and I'm going to help facilitate that. Please use the chat as they're talking to talk amongst yourselves. Zoom has a great way to reply to a previous thread now, so you can kind of have that conversation in the chat. I'll monitor the chat while they're talking and pull out questions to maybe ask them to follow up on. But again, while 3 people have been brave enough to tell their stories with using AI, we know that there's others in the room who have their own. So please use the chat. And then eventually we'll open it up so that other people can unmute if you want, or ask each other questions. So that's how we're going to handle today. So what is generative AI? And again, I'm giving you the very brief Reader's Digest version. It is any type of artificial intelligence that can be used to create something new text, images, video, audio. It's giving it a prompt and then letting it give you something in return. So within the AI pie, this is a piece of it. And there's lots of other pieces, from machine learning, deep learning, predictive AI, all of these different pieces of the puzzle. And again, today we can't do it all, so we're just going to focus on this slice of the pie. within that slice of pie, there's a lot happening. And this image is a little fuzzy because I had to blow it up, but it just points out that there's a lot of generative AI tools out there. And again, we're not going to tackle them all. This is like drinking from a fire hose, but we want to point out some things that our colleagues have used and some advice that they can share. So we're not the only ones tackling this topic. APA Style now has a blog, a page on how to cite if you're using ChatGPT as one of those tools. And then Ricky and others this week sent me, or last week sent me the latest from the AP Style guide. So the Associated Press is starting to get involved in this. And so this is the time. We are here. This is the moment we're living in. So we can't just hide from it. We need to address it. And again, I appreciate you all being here today as we have this conversation. So my three wonderful volunteers to be on this panel are Kara Lawson, and she, as you can see, is at The Ohio State University. And then we have a research team from Texas A&M University, Rafael Quijada Landaverde and Carissa Palmer. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just pose my question, and I'll do my best talk show host here to get this going. So Kara, you were my first picture with that power red on. So tell us one way you have used or have planned to use generative AI.
Thanks, Courtney. Well, I'm really excited about using generative AI as a researcher and as a teacher. I am pretty new at using it. I just kind of started using it this summer after attending several sessions from the American Copy Editors Society with tips and tricks on how to do things a little bit faster and make things a little bit easier. So from a research perspective, one of the things I'm most excited about deals with one of our favorite sections, the reference section. And I'm excited to use ChatGPT to help double check my references for APA style. As a teacher, I am really looking forward to having a conversation with my students about this tool. In fact, we are going to do that next week. Some of the suggestions that I plan to give them my support and permission to explore are for anything where you need to get started with ideas. I think that this kind of technology is really good for breaking writer's block and triggering some things to think about and different approaches. So in my feature writing class, I'm planning to encourage them to use it to get some story ideas going. After their stories are written, I'm going to encourage them to use it for potential headlines, and all with the spirit of getting started. I just really think it's a promising way to kind of break through some of the noise and blocks that we all feature from time to time.
Thank you. And then we'll circle back with some more specific questions, but I'm going to turn it over to Rafa or Carissa. I'm not sure who's going to tag team this.
Well, thank you, Dr. Myers. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how Carissa and I will work together with Dr. Wall and Dr. Leggett on this project. I will talk about our experience using it for classes, and then Carissa will share more about the research part. Well, I started using it first personally because as a non-native English speaker, writing has been always one of those tasks that take a long time for me because I self-doubt too much what I write. And so grammar is always a challenge. So I started using Grammarly way before AI was such a hot topic, and it became such a useful tool for me. But then I discovered another one that it's called Quillboot that helps you paraphrase ideas and help you understand how some words can be, take other meanings and find options when you need to replace words or things like that. So this last summer, I was teaching our research methods class for our grad students. So even though they focus on develop their skills for research, they have to write a proposal. And some of them were having some challenges, what paraphrasing means and how they can restructure an idea. So I integrate those two to help them improve their writing skills. Based on my experience, when you look at what the changes that Grammarly do, you can learn a lot about how some of those ideas can be reshaped and be more straightforward and condensed. But also with Fullboot, I use it to show them how they can rewrite a whole paragraph, giving honor to the people who have produced that research, but at the same time don't falling into plagiarism. So that has been primarily the use that I have had with teaching, and I will let Carissa share a little bit more about what we're doing with research.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. I am going to chat a little bit about an artificial intelligence software called Infern Notice. After a conversation with Dr. Landaverde, he had recommended maybe looking into using this for some of our research projects. So we decided to kind of get familiar with Infern Notice by doing a poster for AAAE Western. And so Infern Notice is considered a text network visualization tool powered by artificial intelligence to accomplish things like getting an overview of any text, discovering gaps of ideas, or generating insight. And so Infern Notice supports multiple languages, is fully shareable and multifunctional, and protects data. There are 45 applications that the platform provides, and there are infinite opportunities for research and a unique opportunity to enhance research within our field in ag leadership, education, and communication. So in our poster abstract, we look directly at certain specific applications within Infern Notice that would enhance literature reviews, collect, analyze, and visualize data, along with creating those visualizations. So in some research that we are currently working on, we have investigated agricultural innovation priorities for a developing country, and we compared the results of a qualitative methodology and the effects of artificial intelligence and analysis. And then preliminary results showed a disconnect in the areas where investments and actions must be made to improve agricultural innovations in the following 5 years. And I will let Dr. Landaverde add to that if he would like to.
Yeah, so that research project, we conducted a Delphi study with experts in Nigeria, looking at what future priority areas we will be working on for extension and innovation. And then we compare what the results that AI was suggesting were the relevant for that same country. What we wanted it to show is if those predictive elements that AI is giving us is the same that is perceived as a priority for those experts working in agriculture. Based on our results, and we apply the same analysis to the results that we got on each side, there is a disconnection between what AI is giving us and what a priority seems to be for those working in the field in Nigeria.
Very good. Well, let me ask you a follow-up question on those tools that you've mentioned. And for everyone, I've put those into the chat so you can click on the links to explore them. What seems to work well, and where have you seen some shortcomings? And then Kara, I'm going to move to you to answer that question next.
Alrighty, I can start us off if you want to, Dr. Landaverde.
Sure.
So what worked well specifically within Infern Notice is that since we have become more familiar with this and we've gotten more experience on Infern Notice, we noticed that we will be able to use this application within the classroom, because along with the research that I had mentioned previously, we're also trying to implement a study within the classroom. And so we're going to give students access to Infern Notice in order to use it to complete 3 exercises that we are in the midst of developing. And so they will complete the exercises using different applications within Infern Notice to complete these exercises. And we have a literature review, visualization, and case study that they will do. And then they will do it manually, and we'll follow up with an AI version of the exercise. But we also, what we noticed did not work very well is AI is very new, and we're still learning how to navigate it and how to implement and integrate AI into the classroom. And so that's something that we're trying to overcome and figure out how we can implement these technologies and softwares into the classroom.
So to add to what Carissa just shared, something that has worked pretty well for us is that Infern Notice is a platform that has all the applications within one. So tracking multiple platforms is so hard because there is one new every single day. So when we selected Infern Notice was because of the way this really different tools that is providing for us to use, not only for research, but also for the classroom. And that has been really good because we have like 40 different tools within one platform. So you can do research on markets, but also it has great tools for data visualization, which is one of the ones that we will be using with the students. With the two other ones that I told you, I think one of the things that works really well is that Quillboot is free. So it is, just anybody can create an account and use it. I think something that doesn't work really well is it can give the students the perception that they can just take the new paragraph that Quillboot produce and use it. But at the end, that is just the same idea without improving, and really rewriting the idea. So we need to make and set the boundaries of how they can use it. And with Grammarly, if you have the very basic plan, it's very limited what you can achieve. And the other one is, it can be very expensive, especially if a student is looking to get access to that one.
Very good. Yeah, and I think for many of us, well, for myself, I never considered Grammarly an AI tool, but you're right, that's what it's doing. So, Kara, what are some things that have worked well or not worked well with ChatGPT?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've all kind of heard different anecdotes or stories about ChatGPT. And I mean, I can say from my experience, I tend to fall into the same experiences a lot of people have, where it's pretty good. If you haven't had a chance to jump on yet, I would really encourage you to create an account and just kind of play around with it. It really is amazing how quickly it responds and how quickly it can come up with a response to whatever you prompt it with. And I was explaining it to a friend recently, and I really do feel like it's a very souped up kind of Google, just so specific. And instead of having to sort through a lot of things, it will give you a pretty concise list or whatever you ask it for. But with that, there are, of course, some limitations. It is not a fact checker. So it will pull its data from the web, truth or inaccurate. So we've just got to be careful to make sure that we double check everything. I am working on planning a trip to Belgium. So I asked ChatGPT to plan like a 5-day trip for me. I'm pretty sure everything that it mentioned is good, but as I started looking at the map, there was no way that we could travel from one of the cities to another in like a day. So definitely going to do my homework before going over there. And it's really good if you have essentially like the more formed your idea, the better the response you're going to get. Asking it the right question or prompting it the right way makes all the difference in the kind of in how it will respond. So I find that just like playing with the question and the prompt will help you a lot. When I decided that I wanted to check something, a reference recently, I just put in the book name and the year, and I said, please give me the APA citation for, whoever, 1992. And it's like, well, I don't really know any of this. So it just did like the author, the year, and then put like name of book. And I was like, oh, if you could just like go a little bit further for me, like that would really help. But I mean, you do have to do some work to put into it. It's not just, this massive bot brain that's going to tell you everything. Like, you do still have to think, and that I don't think is a bad thing. I actually think that's a good thing, because there is still an element of critical thinking to this. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to go for my students. Rafa mentioned the lack of policies, which I think is another weakness. We had a teaching workshop here at Ohio State a couple of weeks ago, and our keynote speaker talked about the need to have some kind of policy in our syllabi about it, and we don't have that yet. So I think it's an interesting time to navigate this new technology with students, but I think that it does have a lot of promise, and I think it can help a lot. So
very good. Well, I'm gonna keep our panel going for about 10 more minutes, but as they're talking, if you all have any questions or comments, please drop those in the chat and I can pick those out. For example, Texas Tech does have course policies that are recommended, and so if your university has those and you want to share them with others, you could drop a link in the chat. But let me, the next question, and if you've already kind of addressed this, but I promised I would ask. So what are some of the best resources you found to learn more about these tools and how you might use them? And again, Kara, you mentioned the copy editors workshops that you've been attending. So let me just start with you, and then we'll go back the other direction.
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, writing teachers and the world of writing and editors are very much paying attention to these tools and technologies. There is concern for how it will impact their way of life, their ways of doing, their industry even. So they have been a really great resource. It's the American Copy Editors Society. I would encourage you to check out some of their stuff. I think they have some free resources available. It's also a membership organization. And another resource I've been using is the Chronicle. They are reporting on AI tools quite a bit. So it's interesting to see how some of the other schools are implementing these in the classrooms and just some of the issues that have come up. But that's really it. The only other resource I have is just essentially being attuned to, like, keeping my ears open to hear about it, because it is so new. But there are probably even more out there. So I'll kick it to some of my co-panelists.
So for us, we actually did some research before deciding to get Infern Notice, because something we haven't mentioned is there is a membership fee, and that's a disadvantage. We pay that membership every month, and Carissa and all the team, we share the same account to because we can create multiple projects and work simultaneously on those. But they have increased, and they every week post new kind of like cases and how you can use their platform, and they are not, giving us any sponsorships. I'm not advertising for them, but they have a great library of resources and cases on how you can use that platform. And then there is a website that it's called Inspiring Inquiry that I can put in the chat. I have used them because they show you multiple tools about free tools with AI and how you can use them. I use one of their tools to create a video about climate change, and I presented to my global ag issues class and asked them if they see what they think about AI and climate change. And then I showed them the video and asked them if they think differently about it after they saw the video. So, and then I asked them if they think differently when I told them that the video was created by AI. So it is, it is a great website because it has so many different examples and resources that they update constantly. So I think that's one of the best resources that I have found. The Writing Center here at A&M also provide us with some guidelines, but those are particularly, on how we want to address it in our classes. And we have some statement on the syllabus, which, give us the freedom to use the level of AI that we want to allow to our students.
And to add on to that, I have a few more things that are a little bit different. But like Dr. Linda Verde had said, a lot of our research with AI has been inspired from other manuscripts. So I would definitely recommend reading manuscripts that are available and maybe considering modifying or replicating those within the classroom or within your research. I also have written here asking ChatGPT. I mean, I don't know what the answer will be. I haven't tried that yet, but I think that would be a good option. I think it would probably provide some good resources. And then also conversations with colleagues and other faculty members, and getting familiar with, maybe other departments are using AI in a different way, and just building that network and learning a little bit more about how artificial intelligence is being used in other fields.
Yes, those are all excellent points. And I appreciate the chats starting to heat up, so we'll keep it going. I have one more final question for the panelists. Of course, they're not off the hook if any of you want to ask them to expand on a point. But what is one piece of advice you would give to others who are considering using these tools, either for research, for teaching? What's that piece of advice you want to make sure that people leave with today?
I will say that in my experience, something is, it's impossible to keep up with all the tools. So I will say to explore some of the available ones and to try to, adopt that respond to the interest that you might be thinking about it, whether it is research or teaching. And something that I think it will have to evolve a little bit more and we need to work on is how we can integrate our conventional research methods and the rigor of our research using AI. So as you move on that, keep thinking on how we can ensure that, whatever we're disseminating in terms of information, if we use AI to produce it or we let researchers to use it to produce it, is keeping the rigor that our discipline is pursuing, because, I think there is a lot of there is a gap there on how research should be done following those procedures. But don't feel bad to play, and if you are still new like us, because we are not experts at all, it's a great resource, and I think students are very interested on, and I have received really good feedback from the students on how excited they are about like getting close to these tools, because for them especially, they are a different generation than me. They feel this is their day-to-day life, and so it's important that I think they get closer to them.
Point. Carissa or Kara, here you go.
Yeah, sure. Well, I agree with a lot of what Dr. Landaverde said. And I think my biggest piece of advice is just to go in with an open mind. And it would actually kind of be interesting to do a study of perceptions about all of these different tools, because depending on who you talk with, you'll get a range of feelings, reactions, emotions. So I think just it is our obligation as faculty and teachers and researchers to be mindful of these tools. This isn't something where we can just kind of stick our head in the sand and, pretend our students aren't going to use it at all. So they are. So let's be their learning partner and use it for good, and use it to be helpful, and use it to get through some of those challenges where it makes sense. Of course, keeping in mind that it's not the one-stop shop solution to a paper, nor, should it ever be. But there really is some potential there, and I hope that everyone will be open to checking it out.
And I think branching off of Dr. Lawson and Dr. Landaverde, I agree. I think we need to start with making the decision whether or not we want to use AI in our research and in the classroom, and decide if that's something that would be for us. And within the realm of AdCom, we are already seeing that AI is playing a huge role in developing communication materials. And so getting our hands dirty within artificial intelligence and figuring out the software that you like best, and determining the plan for implementing AI or not.
Very good. Well, those are the plan questions I had for the panelists, but I wanted to make sure that we have time to discuss other questions or issues or ask for examples for about 10-15 minutes. So if you want to put up your hand or drop a question in the chat, I'll be happy to provide. And as you all are thinking, I'll say that I'm using it a lot to do low-level tasks like writing emails and brochure copy and developing rubrics and assignment descriptions. And I have never been able to go, yep, that's it. That's exactly what I needed. I've always had to work with it. But man, just having, as Kara said, having that initial brainstorming piece, having the machine help me has been really beneficial. I've also used it to help students write research questions, to put in what are the key variables or concepts they want to study, and ask ChatGPT to write me research questions. And then we talked about which ones are closest to what you really want to know, and then helping them push others to the side, because man, we can't do it all in one study. I'm curious, a lot of you, if either by the reaction or by the show of hands, how many of you have been using one of these tools or something similar? Okay, quite a few hands are up. Very good. Yep. So thank you all. Let me see. I'm going to pull this. So Alyssa says that you've been worked with students using it for research questions. Yep. And exploring if it's helpful or not. And I think it's that additional level of critique and analysis that really drives the learning process. So Alyssa, is that what you've noticed?
Absolutely. So we have an assistant provost that is all about AI. She's character, she's all about tech. She tells us everything she wears is tech. But she's all about artificial intelligence, and she led an AI workshop here this summer for faculty. And we talked about how, things like AI basically eliminate, the need for rote memorization. They can look it up anytime they need anything that we need to have them memorize. And so focusing on things like application and the critical analysis, does this actually make sense? That type of thing. One of the things that I have found it really helpful for is things like brainstorming. Students that have a lot of writing anxiety, that have a lot of writer's block, just like having any words on the page helps them. And being clear, talking through, like, we can't rely on this as the end all be all, but it can be a tool to like help you start to move forward on things.
Great points. Anyone else? So Whitney just dropped a chat, using AI for analysis of research and how we can incorporate into training the analysis of data. Yes. Also how we can use AI. Whitney, do you want to add to that?
All right, I didn't know if I had time to chat about it, but I'm working with a project with Katie Sanders from NC State, and we're looking at how Max QDA, they have a autocode part and a AI section, and how we can use these to teach training of like qualitative data analysis and or compare to see how they align with other methods, such as using different, how does it compare with thematic, or using kind of an arts-based analysis. So just using it as a tool, and we're currently working on that. So we'll see what the answer is, but how can we use it to train our students about research and analysis and what we can glean from it.
That's great. Well, good luck with your project.
Thanks.
We'll be waiting to find out what you learn.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm curious if anyone has changed an assignment or has rethought how they're going to have students show their what they've learned due to this advancement.
We're actually working on using it in a visual sense. So a lot of people are using it in a writing sense. So how do we become better writers? How do we, work on spelling, grammar, all of those? But we're actually looking at incorporating it into a photography class to see how do we train visual literacy? Like, can we pull out information from a AI generated image, and can students replicate that? So if I gave them a prompt, can they take a photo and does AI match? And just helping them to understand that there's a lot that we think about on the day-to-day that sometimes the AIs can't, because it's not really actual human thinking. So it's been fun. We're looking at how we can expand on it, but right now it's just kind of an introductory practice in a photography class.
Very good. Thanks, Lacey. Jamie, you had sent me a tool that you were using. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was just about to type in the box, but yeah, so I have a professional writing class, and actually 2 classes where we're using an AI tool called Packback AI. I don't know if they have reached out to anyone else at other places, but so they have really 2 services for AI assisted learning. So it's not specifically generative, it's more like a writing tutor. So they have what they call is like Packback Questions, which is a discussion forum where the students are asked to write a question based on a topic prompt. So you can set up the prompt, and then students have to ask questions, and then the Packback AI coaches them on what calls curiosities. So it like breaks down how curious they are, how if they've cited sources, and then they have to respond to each other's questions, and Packback will coach them again through their response. So it'll let them know, like you can set up the rubric, and Packback will provide grammar and punctuation suggestions, but also provides research suggestions. So it says, oh, you've mentioned this fact but haven't provided a source. Can you provide a source? And then when they put the source in, it'll let them know whether or not the website is credible. And based on whatever format, APA or MLA, it'll also, when they put just a website link in, it'll give them the citation in text citation and then a reference citation. And then they have another tool, which I'm using in my writing class, called Deep Dives, where they write inside the text box. It's like they log into the Packback platform, and for every writing assignment, they write their assignment within this text box, and Packback again coaches them for various things that you set up in the rubric. So grammar, punctuation, style, and formatting. If you have certain prompts or questions that they have to answer, Packback will remind them, like, oh, this is a question prompt from your instructor, but you haven't fully answered it. And so it's like a writing tutor through the process of completing the assignment. And at the end of it, both in the questions and in deep dives, AI will give them a score, but the instructor can come in afterwards and either overwrite the score or add in additional points based on content and ideas. So what they say is that Packback takes care of a lot of the first things that you would do with writing, correcting format, style, punctuation, etc. AI does that for you, leaving the instructor to grade for content and ideas.
Very cool. And so you're just rolling that out this semester? So,
yeah,
okay.
I have an online and an in-person professional writing class, and then I'm using it in a global marketing class for discussions.
Very cool. Well, I hope, I'd love to learn more about what you find out. So maybe an innovative poster or a future webinar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What you've described, and I was in another meeting about this, and somebody said, look, as a graduate advisor, I'm already serving the AI capacity of these students. Like they try it, then I give them feedback on it, and they use my feedback to try to improve. And I thought it was an interesting way to kind of, I'll admit I was one of those who's very skeptical about using ChatGPT, and I felt like I was cheating when I did it. But then you get in and you realize it's just another tool, and you still need to be able to kind of manage what it gives you. The last question I wanted to pose maybe to the group is, are any, I see, okay, good. Thanks, Kelsey. Here at Texas Tech, if you think a student has cheated by using generative AI, it's very difficult to prove it. And I see some heads shaking yes. And so my philosophy this semester has been to just acknowledge that it exists, and I want students to acknowledge if they've used it. Are any others taking a different approach to that? Well, the story our Teaching, Learning, Professional and Development Center director told me is that she took a document that she had cried over and, you know, wrote every word of and put it into a AI detector, and it said 80% was generative AI. And she said, you know what, if I can't even trust the document that I've put in, then these detectors may not be all that helpful. So I see some heads shaking. So I think, in Virginia, I think you made a comment earlier about high school students, and it may be a better use of our time to help our students recognize when they should and shouldn't be using these tools. But did you want to add anything to that?
Sure. I'll be the first to say that when we have had these discussions in class, I'm like, you know, half an inch ahead of them. I mean, we really are in new territory. And I wrote in the chat that at our high school in our college town, this is all banned, which, you know, that's easier to just make a big categorical ban. But when you're in college, like you're saying, we're teaching our students how to use tools to become successful adult learners and people out in the world. Maybe making more time in class to talk about this. You know, maybe this is something, and I'm thinking of like our freshman English instructors, and they're really on the front lines with all of this, but people who are teaching 100 and 200 level courses, you know, maybe they're the first people with whom our students would have a discussion. I do have another comment, but it's kind of a pivot. I will share in our ACT club, the students were talking about a story that ran last spring, and I don't know if others saw it, but a Wharton Business School professor spent like $600 maybe, or maybe $60, not very much money, on subscriptions. And he created enough marketing content for a game. This was just something he wanted to see if he could generate marketing content that would cost an agency $20,000 in a month to create. And our students were saying, you know, well, what about us? As you know, we're going into the industry and we're going to work in agencies and publishing houses and we're going to be content creators. Are we replaceable? And I think that's a really important discussion to have with our students too. And I don't pretend to have any answers about it. I'm just throwing those questions out there, but I do hear it from our students.
That's a good point to bring forward. I don't think any of us have the right answer for that, but something to consider. Oh, Ricky has, yeah, that's one of his concerns. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn it. I want to first, will you all join me in your reactions, or here by the side, thank our panelists for sharing their perspectives. Really great to hear from them and the tools they're using. Hopefully they've motivated you to explore and to consider what these tools could look like in your day-to-day life. And with that, Ricky, I'll turn it over to you to help facilitate introductions, perhaps.
Great. Thank you very much, Courtney, and thank you very much, panelists. This is and will continue to be, as Courtney and the group has said, a topic for all of us to use, wrestle with, accept, all that in the next few years and beyond. I wanted to spend a little bit of time right now, so please don't jump off just yet. First, for any announcements folks have, and then for introductions, because we have a lot of new faces here. So if there are anyone who has any introductions or comments or things for the group, this would be the time to do so. Deb?
Yeah, I'd love to share. Thanks for the invite today. It was a really interesting and educational session, so I appreciate it. I'm in the ag education world and lots of conversations across AEC, so it was interesting to learn about what's happening in some of the AdCom context. I just wanted to share, and you probably saw it on the listserv, but there is a current opening for a lecturer and instructional assistant professor for agricultural natural resources communication. And it's a little unique. It's in UF-AEC, but it's at the Plant City location, which is affiliated with the Gulf Coast Research and Education Center. So it's non-tenured track, but it's 100% teaching. And that would be courses in person and online. It's a 12-month position. And there would be some, obviously, collaboration with the CLD specialization in UFAEC and working with some of the groups that are related to Gulf Coast Research and Education Center. So I was going to just pop the link to the posting. It's open until September 15th. So I just wanted to share that.
Great. Thank you, Deb. Any questions for Deb about the position? Thank you for joining us today. Any other announcements, position announcements? Okay. If not, just real quick, don't forget that for a lot of us, paper, poster, and professional development sessions have been released for the National Agricultural Communication Symposium. So please, if you don't have any idea what that meeting is about, please let me know. I can get word out to you about that. So, and of course, if you're in some of the other regionals for AAAE, some of those calls are out as well too. Southern region just came out too. With that, I'm going to go through the participant list, kind of go by alphabetical order. They have it listed by first name. So if you are an A, be ready because you're going to be called first. And so what I would like for you to do as I call your name, just tell us where you're from and maybe your favorite course that you teach in ag communication. Or if you don't teach an AdCom course, what would you want to teach if you were able to do so? So I'm going to start with Adam.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's like all the time to prepare. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Adam Klutzer. I'm at Auburn University. I teach leadership and comm here. And I guess my favorite course is the only one that I'm teaching right now, which is the intro course.
Very good. Abigail.
Hey everyone, I'm Abigail Boren at the University of Georgia, and I'll just stick with this current semester. I really enjoy our capstone class that we've got going on for the program in AdCom.
Wonderful, thank you. Alyssa.
Hi everybody, I am Alyssa Rockers. I am an assistant professor year 2 now at Tennessee State University here in Nashville. Right now, my favorite course is any AdCom course I get to teach because we're building that program. So anything I get to teach is my favorite.
Great. Amanda.
Hi, everyone. Amanda Ruth McSwain, professor at the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina. And although I am not in an AdCom unit, I do teach a year-long capstone course where we partner with Charleston Wine and Food as their local agency of record. And so that is a course. I love the campaigns course at the senior level.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. Glad to have you. Avery.
Hi, it's actually good morning from where I'm at, but Avery Culbertson, Fresno State University, and probably my favorite AdCom course is our second course, which we usually focus on publications, but we take advantage of where we live, being in the Central Valley, and we meet with a lot of not only ag communication specialists, but a lot of agriculturalists in the area that focus on promoting the industry.
Great, thank you. I'm going to take 3 at a time so that for lack of time here, we're going to start with Kara, Claire, and then Courtney.
Kara Lawson, Ohio State, and my favorite class that I teach is Risk and Crisis Communication.
I'm Claire Hancock. This is Evie Hancock. She's 2 months old yesterday. I'm at Auburn University and I'm a 3rd-year PhD student, and I have not taught a class yet, but I love writing courses. So thank you.
Well, it's hard to follow Claire. I'm Courtney Myers at Texas Tech, and I'd say whichever class I don't have any grading in. I teach too many. It's hard to pick a favorite. It's like picking a favorite child.
I understand. Ginger, Jacqueline, Jay, and then Jamie Alexander.
Hi there, I'm Ginger Orton. I am just turning my camera on. Let's get situated. I'm a PhD candidate at Texas Tech University. Thank you for all the claps. Second time I've gotten to say that today, so that's super exciting. And I am teaching communicating agriculture to the public this semester, which was kind of my pot of gold at the end of the grad school rainbow. It's a majors writing intensive course, and we had the AI discussion on our syllabus day. So happy to get some more thoughts on that today.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Hi, Jacqueline Allende, Kansas State University. This is not a course I get to teach this semester, but my favorite one so far is undergrad research. It's kind of newish to have it in like a class-based setting, and it's been really fun and really rewarding.
Great, thanks. Jay? Jay, we can't hear you.
Do you hear me okay?
I can hear you now.
Oh, good. So my name is Jay, Texas A&M University. I'm a research scientist, and my favorite course is method course using AI and machine learning. So
wonderful, great. Jamie?
Yeah, I'm Jamie Gregg at University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I think currently my favorite course is probably video production, but I just got asked to propose a course in innovations in AdCom technology. So I think that will probably be my favorite if it gets accepted.
That's great. We'll finish out the J's. I think Jessica and Joy.
Hi, everyone. Jessica Holt, University of Georgia. I will have to say my favorite course is the study abroad course, Flowers and Photography of Europe. So it's a great course.
Good. Joy, are you on?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm here. I am
Okay.
walking to my car so I can pick up kids on time. But I'm Joy Rumble at The Ohio State University. And my favorite class to teach is probably Intro to AdCom because that's the one that I teach the most.
Great. Thanks, Joy. We'll go with Carissa and then Kelsey Trewin and then Kelsey Hall.
So my name is Carissa Palmer. I'm from Texas A&M University, and I'm teaching for the first time this semester an AdCom sophomore seminar course where we are exploring and analyzing agricultural issues and getting ready for careers in AdCom.
Great, thanks. Kelsey Trewin. Okay, we'll go to Kelsey Hall then, and then Kelsey Opat.
I'm Kelsey Hall from Utah State University, and my favorite class is graphic design in the fall semester.
Great.
Hey, I'm Kelsey Opat at Texas A&M University, and I am only teaching Methods of Tech Change this semester, which is a grad level class, but I'm looking forward to teaching our seminar class next semester.
Great. All right, we'll go with Kylie, and then Lacey, and then Laura Fisher.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kylie Harlan, and I recently joined the faculty at Texas Tech University as a lecturer. This semester, I'm teaching professional development in AdCom and scientific communications, both majors and non-majors courses. And I'm really looking forward to, I think, the non-major sections of scientific comm, just getting to interact with those other members of our Davis Agricultural College that don't necessarily get the comm stuff that we do here in AdCom.
Hello, everyone. So it's great to see faces. I am Lacey Roberts Hill. I'm at New Mexico State University. And I was going to say photography, but then Jessica Holt got me and I was like, you know what? Yeah, study abroad. We do an ag communication study abroad course here in New Mexico. So that might be my favorite.
Great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Fisher. I'm an assistant professor at Texas Tech University. This summer, I taught a social marketing course. So we developed campaigns to encourage behavior change. That'd be my favorite course.
Great, thanks. We'll go with Leslie, Nicole, and Rafael.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Leslie Edgar, New Mexico State University. I serve as the Associate Dean of Research and the Ag Experiment Station Director. My new course, Ricky, will be, since I'm not teaching, how to train all of our ag communications professionals to be the next experiment station directors. That will be the course I teach. Good to see you all.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Very good.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Volk. I'm a second-year master's student at The Ohio State University, and I have had the pleasure of TAing the Advanced Agricultural Technologies course, and I actually help co-teach the videography section for my time in the industry.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Rafael Landaverde. I am at Texas A&M. I do not teach AdCom classes, but if I had to teach an AdCom class, I would love to teach risk and crisis communication.
It's good. Very good. We'll go with Sharon, Sharifat, Taylor, and then Virginia.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharifat Alabi. I'm a second year PhD student at Ohio State University. And during my first year, I had the opportunity to teach agricultural issues in contemporary society. So that was an undergraduate level class to teach them about writing skills.
Thank you very much. Sharon?
Hey, I'm Sharon Wagner. I'm at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, and I'm teaching 4 classes this semester here, but my favorite one by far is issues in ag and natural resources, because it includes an overview of all the major commodities in Georgia. We talk about advocating for those commodities to producers, to policymakers, and to consumers. So we get to cover a lot of interesting material, and it's includes a lot of students from ag business and from ag ed and the production major. So we get to put a little AdCom into the other departments as well. So that's a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Thank you. Taylor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Ruth. I'm now at the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville. So if you see my emails different, that is why. My favorite classes that I get to teach are any of our skills-based classes with photography and design and videography.
Virginia.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Virginia Hansen. I'm an associate teaching professor at Iowa State, which might be the newest Bachelor in AdCom program we have in the country. So Dr. Myers, we took your external review recommendation very seriously. I love teaching a small seminar that's a career seminar course for AdCom majors. It's nice to just be with a dedicated group of AdCom students and talking about what's ahead for them. So thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. And then Kelsey, did you, Kelsey Trewen or Trewen?
She dropped something in the chat. Her mic doesn't seem to be working.
Kelsey is my PhD student. Her mic isn't working, but she's just started with us last week.
Perfect. Wonderful. That's exciting. Thank you all. And thank you all for the grad students too. And again, I'm Ricky Telg. My favorite course would be the one that I have taught every semester since starting here would be the Intro to Digital Media class, followed by a course that we've started just recently on policy communication, where we do actually travel to capitals, to DC and to Tallahassee, to learn about how policy is communicated. So with that, if you look around your Zoom, you will see a lot of new faces. And I've reached out to some folks over this last 3 or 4 months and learned a lot about new programs and emerging programs. So as of this morning, we have 116 faculty members who are on the Society of Ag Communication scholars list. And so that includes lecturers, professors of practice, which again, when I started many years ago, there weren't that many of us faculty around. That's not including the graduate students. So again, we would want to encourage you all as faculty to invite your graduate students or undergraduate students who have an interest in agricultural communication to attend the upcoming webinars over the next academic year. Next month, we have on September 25th at the same time, Erica Earlbeck from Texas Tech is going to be talking about writing a textbook. So anything about writing and about textbooks, things that you want to learn about, or if you have an interest in, what do you do when you want to have this idea and you think it's more than just a journal article and you think, well, let's turn this into a textbook or something along those lines. Please be back for that. October 23rd, we'll have another panel discussion on mentoring junior faculty and concerns of new faculty. So if you're within your first 5 years, and would like to learn more about what other people are, the successes and struggles and challenges they have, as well as ways to hopefully overcome some of that, please be there for that on October 23rd. And then the end of this calendar year, we'll have on November 27th, Laura Fisher and Lacey will be talking about creating collaborative multi-state partnerships. One last thing before we go is if you are a member of our mentor-mentee program, please reach out to your mentor if you're a mentee, or a mentee if you're a mentor. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but would like to be paired with a mentee or a mentor, please let me know individually, and I will work to have that process started between you and someone else on the group list here. With that, we're at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you all so much for your time this afternoon. Hope to see everybody back next month. Have a great Monday. Bye.